Welcome to hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show for this Thursday morning. We're going to learn about an organization in the area from the person responsible for it. It's an organization called United We Go. And with us this morning is Gina Anayana. Good morning, Gina. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me here.
I'm glad to have you. Gina and I have just had a long discussion about family history and all that stuff. Because Gina, originally you're from Beijing.
Actually, I'm originally from
just outside of Beijing.
Actually, Shanghai. Yes, I was in Beijing for 7 years before I came here.
And before we get to the organization, Gina's story is fascinating because here's a young woman in China.
Yeah.
And comes to the United States to go to college at Saginaw Valley State University.
Yes.
And I wondered how a young girl sitting in China picks SVSU to come and be educated.
I mean, you know, if you ask me the middle 20 years old version of me, and I mean, I saw some picture of the campus, but I had no idea the city around because,
right.
You know, that time I was in Beijing. So when I picture United States, a city that I'm going to college, I'm picture all the sky rising, you know, so many people, just like where I used to live. I got here, it's a cultural shock. It took me a whole semester to really accept that I'm actually here as a student. It's a city called Saginaw, yeah.
And you got a degree from SVSU?
Yes, I got my bachelor degree. And I graduated with cum laude, which I had no idea what it was. I was like, why the thing on my, you know, when you're lined up, right? Graduation. I was like, what is on mine? And people looking over, they're like, Gina, you basically graduated with honor. I'm like, okay, great. Good job, Gina.
Yeah. Gina lives here with her husband, 2 daughters, right?
Yes.
So let's talk for a minute about United We Go. First of all, an overview. What is it?
United We Go is a 501c3 nonprofit. Of course, everybody, you know, have the title for that. But United We Go stands for, like, my intention when I found it is I have this deep desire. It also depends on, you know, it's also from how I was raised. I feel like it never been heard and seen. A lot of kids. So when I grew up, I think one of my vision, one of my mission in the world is I want to provide this opportunity, especially for youth, to be seen and heard. So let's just conclude like United We Go started with the desire, provide a platform for people to be seen and heard in our community.
So on a day-to-day basis, what does the organization do?
On day-to-day basis, that we basically have our 4 major program. Like as everybody, probably not everybody, most people know us for the mural festival called the City of Mural Community Festival. That we do a large scale of murals in the Bay County, mainly in Bay County community.
Yeah, you're organized in Bay City, right?
Yes. Yeah, we headquartered in Bay City, but we are a regional organization right now because like the second program, let's say the I Am Youth Fashion Show, we started because kids are from all over the region. So it's a regional program. And the third one is called a Voice of Youth podcast program. We teach kids how to do podcasting. And it's through podcasting to train them the conversational skill, communication skill, and a storytelling skill, which is needed in our younger generation, and even also in our, you know,
I was
in every
say,
generation.
Not just the younger generation.
Our last, not least, program is the Happy Birthday Fund that we actually support the family in need to celebrate their kid's birthday. So when I'm looking back this 3 years, we are in the year number 4. Our 80% of our program actually designed for youth. You know, I mean, arts and cultural youth. This is our focus area, community engagement. Yeah.
And how is it supported financially?
Financially, there are different parts. You know, of course, the grant is as nonprofit. We definitely can, you know, work with our either local grants or state grants because we are actually still growing, like the toddler stage, right? So we have a lot of support from our local community foundation. So shout out to Community Foundation Bay Area. And also the sponsorship. And then nonprofit relies on a lot of sponsorship from small business and other corporations in the region as well. Fundraising, that's why a lot of events never ending and always starting and also sometimes it's bring awareness. It's needed because you not expecting people just a baby born. Everybody knows who's a baby. Like it take time to actually have people to know. Actually, today on your show, it's great to hit the audience. Otherwise, they're probably not gonna know. United We Go. Who's United We Go?
Yeah,
what they do.
I can guarantee that because I had no idea. No, really.
Yeah.
I saw it on the schedule and I said, "Oh, United We Go. What is it?" So I had to look it up because I had no idea and I had not heard of it.
Yeah, exactly. So we always have this awareness is like, bring awareness to the community with fundraising. We work with closely with small business. Also, do not ignore the in-kind donation because a lot of time people is like, okay, how much for this program? I was like, we're not going to charge you, but doesn't mean this is free because nothing is free. So a lot of in-kind donation, I want to shout out to those individual and the business that are supporting us, supported us and supporting us on our journey. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some of the things you do. The first one, there is a casting call here.
Yes.
For a youth fashion show. So tell us about the youth fashion show, the whens and the wheres and all that stuff.
Yes, youth fashion show is our annual program. So this year the youth fashion show will be in July. But for us to have the fashion show in July, we usually a couple months beforehand, we're going to have a casting call. So casting call usually on the flyer as well too. We work with kids from 4 to 17 years old. So basically parents will register them and bring them on April 25th, which is Saturday. So casting call is they come here because you cannot bring kids to the show when they have no idea whether they're comfortable, whether they are super confident or they are kind of shy or they're like, I'm not ready. But if you give them practice, they probably going to be ready. So casting call brings them to figure out, then you can see where's kids at. So we will have 3 judges. They're going to come into the room, practice a little bit. They're going to show us how they walk. So we don't really turn down any kids per se because we want to more encourage the kids to have more confidence. The only scenario the kids not in the show is either they don't feel they are ready because some kids are young. They say 4 years old. Some 4 years old are not go straight, right?
They're not going to walk the boardwalk.
No. So it's like the only scenario is either parents and the kids, they don't feel they're ready. They are like feel super nervous. They kind of, leave. So otherwise, if they're willing, we work with them. So after casting call, we usually have 2 to 3 practice. So parents will take the girls to our practice place location. The practice usually take 2 hours. So with the practice, then
this is learning how to be a runway model, right?
I would say runway, but also how they carry, how they change how they walk, because not everybody, just like my daughter, 12 years old, she's been in many shows, but how they walk, not teen years, they will just leaning forward. They are not, they don't have a good posture. And also this is more than just a walk. It's because we bring the community member to come in. We teach the kids how to do their hygiene. You think hygiene is something basic, right? Something everybody should know. But the younger kids, how to take their hair, take care. Our hair is different. Asian hair, my hair is very different from, African American, and then, your hair is very different. So also we teach kids how to kind of do skincare, basic skincare. Not everybody washes their face at the end of the night, surprisingly. So we will embody some even financial literacy as well. So we bring organization come in to kind of give a different aspect of how a youth they need to know, not just beauty, not just, so we embody with financial literacy. We put hair care, skin care, and also other organization if you're interested in their youth service.
So the casting call is going to be April 25th,
yes,
correct?
It's a Saturday at CMURC. Saginaw CMURC. It's a second floor of SVRC Market.
Right, okay.
Yes, yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. By the way, I should point out, too, when Gina talks about how to act on a runway and life and posture and all that, she is also a professional model who has been the New York Fashion Week, which we're going to talk about that. That fascinated me when you told me that.
Okay, yes,
yes. We'll be back to do more of that with Gina in just a little bit here on the Art Lewis Show.
Death has been defeated in Jesus.
Membership to Bay Valley Resort.
Golf members experience 7 days of unlimited golf on a newly renovated property. Not a golfer? Try our social membership. Both memberships enjoy 10% off dining, golf merchandise, and Soluna spa services. Plus, access to the fitness center, indoor pool, hot tub, and more. Golfers, join.
Back with you, talking to Gina Aniana, and she has the organization called United We Go. I mentioned before the break, because we just got done talking about the casting call on April 25th for youngsters to join in the fashion show, which will be held. When is the fashion show held, Gina?
It's July 12th.
July 12th.
And we are finalizing our event space at
Okay.
this stage. So, yeah, we will reveal on our social media when it's...
So one of the things that these youngsters learn is confidence in walking the runway and in themselves and their poise and all of that.
Yeah.
And I mentioned before the break, you have experience because you are a model.
Yes, I am.
And you have done New York Fashion Week.
New York Fashion Week,
Which is
Michigan
the
Fashion Week.
King
yeah.
of the hill, other than going over to France or someplace. I mean, you know.
Well, yeah, but the thing is with my schedule, like I only can carefully choose certain shows to go because with the organization as a
Yeah,
founder
yeah.
president, I have so much responsibility, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's it like in New York Fashion Week for a model?
I would say it's one of a life experience. If you've never been to that, if you have opportunity, I will highly recommend because that's our something is about experience, right? It's then you can see all your past experience compared to this experience. You feel like either I'm ready for it, or maybe you have some doubts and questions that I need to practice more, or you see those models super tall. Right? Then you're like, oh my gosh, like how did I get here? Like what I'm doing here, right? So you have that moments of every piece of those, your awareness towards yourself and towards the other people come in. So it's kind of a reshape who I am. I realize that.
You work through an agency?
No, actually, I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
you
not.
do it on your own?
I'm on my own. I went to their casting call, and also one of the designers that I worked a lot here in Michigan, they invited to do a show in New York. So I got to go with them as well. So I had to experience both sides of the world. One is you go with the designer, so you're definitely in the show. The other one is you need to go to the casting call, just like we casting those
Yeah.
kids. They were casting me. So it's kind of like teacher as a student as teacher. So that time you're like, okay, I'm just me. I'm just
You made it
this.
through the casting call?
Yeah, you go through the casting call with hundreds, thousands of people. We waited on the street. I went there 8:15. We waited for 3 hours in the cold New York street to get in the casting call. I was lucky for 3 hours. People waited for 5 hours to get in. It was brutal. So
And
definitely.
how long do they give you once you're in there?
So, well, to be honest, the whole thing, once you get in, they give you bib and everything. But the casting call itself on the runway, 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
So you waited 3 hours for 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the basically, but just let you guys know, in Michigan, we're not going to have you guys wait for 3 hours and with 30 seconds.
And it won't be in the New York cold either.
Yes, we are.
I know exactly where that is, and that's
Sony Hall.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's middle of Manhattan, right?
Yep.
Middle of Manhattan. I mean, yes, I probably, next time I go, I tell my designers, I'm like, hey, I experienced what it feels like standing in the cold for 3 hours to be the casting call. I'm not going to do that.
Now that you've done it
Yeah.
and you made it through, do
Yeah.
you bypass that the next time? Will they say, oh, yeah, we know you were here?
No, actually, if you go through there, if you're not going with the designer, you will have to go through the casting
So you
call.
either go with a designer or you go through the casting call.
Exactly. I will go through with my designer
With your
because
designer, yeah.
it's much a pleasant experience because that code was, I tell people I'm from Michigan. There's people from California, Miami.
Oh, yeah.
People flew from different country come there. They were not prepared. I was have fur coat with gloves, boots on. I was ready, but still 3 hours in cold.
It's not fun.
It's not fun. It's not fun. It's a little bit traumatic. Yeah.
What made you do that? Just out of curiosity, how'd you get into it?
Long story short, I started my modeling journey back 2019, 2020, and from an occasional opportunity because that time my kids was a youth fashion show in Detroit. And one of the organizers, she's Chinese, by the way. So she reached out. She's like, Gina, we will be part of Michigan Fashion Week. They are looking for some Asian model. And I'm like, that time, how old am I? But I'm like, okay, that's great, but I have 2 kids, right? I'm a mom, have 2 kids. I have a couple pieces of tattoo here and there. And I'm not sure, and I'm not that tall. I'm 5'5", barely, okay? So in my mind, it's a traditional model, right? Like the height, whatever. If they don't mind, I can go for casting call, So they're like, yeah, it's okay, come over. So I went there. No joking, okay? I was so nervous because that was my first time ever as a mother of 2. You are competing with those models like 5'10", 5'9". They are super tall, right? And they are young too. I was in the middle. I remember the casting. I was 3 people all walking towards the judge. I was in the middle. Those 2 African Americans, they are super tall, 5'10". And I was like, what I'm doing here? I was super nervous. I don't know what I was doing, but I don't know, for whatever reason. Maybe they need Asian models and maybe they need diversity. Maybe whatever's that there. I was in, but when people ask me why, I ask myself why too. Because as a mother, have 2 kids, you are not in your 20s, right? Your body image, a lot of people after kids, body image is a real thing. And I feel like, okay, if I go there, experience that, maybe I can make a point is doesn't matter which stage you are, you can shine. You can be who you are. You can be confident.
And I have to say, it's my feeling, it's always been my feeling, we spend way too much time worrying about body image. It's nice to have a good body image, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
If you're slender and you got that figure, you got it all, wonderful. But that's not to say someone who isn't quite the same isn't just as competent, just as quality, just as confident, just as wonderful.
Yeah.
We are, how do I say this? We're a judgmental society sometimes on the wrong issues. We judge people on sometimes how they look rather than who they are internally, how they act,
Exactly.
how they react with us. And I, as you know, I'm a product of New York City. I grew up on the streets of the Bronx. You learned early on in your life you want to get along with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're in trouble.
Yes.
So you learn not to judge people on their skin color, their ethnicity, their religion, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've grown up that way. And it has always bugged me that we as a society tend to judge people sometimes for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, the judgment is one thing, and self-judgment is another thing. And then leading to why I bring my experience, like because I started 2020, that time United We Go is not, I didn't even found United We Go yet. But when I found United We Go, I was like, what are something that I'm good at and also this region's needed? And I instantly think about what if through this program that we share with this our youth, doesn't matter where you're from. I always tell people you don't need to born in New York to be New York Fashion Week. You could have born in Auburn, but born in Bridgeport, right? Yeah. This is exactly the Great Lakes Bay region that we don't really have this kind of a platform. Almost feel like when you go to Detroit, you're like, where you from? I'm from Saginaw. And like, no, like, yes, I am from Saginaw and I am qualified. I am worthy to be this kind of on this kind of stage. But the thing is, if we don't create this kind of opportunity, you think the kids just they born, they never been talk about this thing, that you throw them to on that stage, how would they're not going to survive. So that's why we do what we do here is working with those kids as young as you can.
And did you tell me you're one of only 2 nonprofits in the United States that do a youth fashion show?
Yes, nonprofit. I'm talking nonprofit.
I said
yes.
Nonprofit. Yeah.
And one nonprofit is in California, and they are specialized. They don't have any other program like we have.
That's all they do.
Yeah, all they do. And I checked their website. They don't actually update that much. I was like, okay, wow, this is interesting as nonprofit doing youth fashion show. So we are actually they founded it way before us. They already probably 10 years in the history, but we are on year number 4. But as we are doing this, we have not only have, youth fashion show, we have Voice for Youth. It's also designed to use arts and culture like mural festival have used in.
We're going to get to that.
Yes. So yes, we are only 2, surprisingly.
You got a lot on your plate, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
We'll take a break, come back.
Okay.
Jeannie Aniana is our guest, and she has the organization United We Go. More on that when we return.
Gotta go.
All right, we're back with you. We're talking to Gina Anayana, and she has the United We Go nonprofit organization in Bay City. Multifunctional, to say the least. One of the programs is called Voice of Youth. It is a podcast program. So, out of curiosity, Gina, why did you start that?
Why did I start that? Because I realized that it's essential to, from your thoughts, communicate with words, but not just words, with love and compassion. Because we talk about judgment earlier, right? We talk about a lot of things going on in the world, and you realize that...
That was during the break, folks. You didn't hear anything. But that's
right? As even adults, we sometimes come, just because you can, from the channel, from your thoughts to the words, just because you can speak, it doesn't mean you are talking properly, communicating. You are not communicating. And when I started my podcast back 2020, during Black Lives Matters, Asian Hate, called Unity Through Diversity, and I realized that this is a skill you that need to train. You do not born with those kind of skill. And I'm like, okay, so I have 2 kids. They are young, right? That time when I started podcast, they are young. And I was like, how can I work with my kids from at a young age, they be able to speak, not only speak, talk, but communicate. So how can I start with them? Then the idea come up. I was like, okay, I want to see how young of the age of the kids that we can start this training process. Because you realize that people are in the 40s, 50s, that if you don't train those skills, they don't hold a conversation very well. They don't ask deep questions. And a lot of time in the community, you realize that people ask shallow questions. There's nothing wrong with that. But how to hold a conversation, how to ask good conversations. Yeah. So those are my essential.
Your degrees are, you're in marketing, communications, and also
sales
business
marketing.
management.
Yeah.
And any good marketer knows the importance of communicating.
Yes.
It's all part of it.
Yes.
Do the youngsters come willingly to these podcasts?
Yes, actually. So when they're young, especially 4th grader and 5th grader, I usually bring my podcast equipment in. So they'll put on it. The most exciting thing for them is hear their own voice. They need to have the curiosity. We talk about curiosity as well. The curiosity drives them to stay a little bit longer, because when you're so young, they are not thinking about a career path or whatsoever. They're just like, what is fun? Oh, this is something.
What's next? Yeah.
What's next? Then they need to go through some boring training with me, to be honest, especially the first one, when we talk about some class rules, when we talk about some basic things about that. The kids are usually kind of getting a little bit off track a little bit, but they love the most part is recording session. They like to hear their voice. They will put their headphone on the whole day. They're like, that's the... that thread that kept me to keep their interest high. But I was like, well, yeah, we can put this recording button on for 2 hours, but, well, let's talk about what kind of question you're going to ask. They will run out of questions. They will have a long pause of how do you feel about that? So it's kind of, I'm working with them from their experience and embedded those skills training to use those muscles.
I'm glad to hear it, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I have a fear in this technical age today. You put 2 youngsters on a sofa next to each other with their phones, their thumbs are going to do the talking, not their mouths.
Exactly.
And my fear is when they grow up and go into the world of business, they're not going to know how to communicate other than with that phone. And I'm glad to know there are people out there giving them the opportunity to express themselves verbally.
That's the fear that, yes, I didn't want to talk about fear, but since you brought it up, we talk about fear. Again, I have 2 kids, right? And you realize that they're born with technology, which means you cannot take away from them. So my thoughts is, I have to accept that you guys are born with technology. However, I can direct you how to use those technologies. So that's actually why we have this program now. In Hamilton Elementary School is year number 3, with ISD is year number 1, is we're not going to tell you, say, hey, it's not good, spend this much time. But I was like, okay, here are different avenues that allow you to use the device, but you are produce some meaningful content. What you want what you're thinking, thoughts, people to know what you're thinking, would you like to share your knowledge? Maybe I don't know. Maybe you're good at something, but I don't know. But if you, through this podcast, produce your own podcast or interview other people, you literally help yourself share this knowledge with other people and also interview other people, right? So the kind of shift their interests. Yeah, you are still probably on the phone with the like editing, but you are now scrolling down, right? Swipe with TikTok shorts. My daughter, she likes shorts. I'm like, okay, Bailyn, let's talk about how would you like to produce your own content. Yeah. So you kind of shifted there, you know.
How does a youngster get involved in this?
This so far right now, it's different from Youth Fashion. Youth Fashion Show we're open to the public, but for Voice of Youth podcast program, we work with schools. So if the school want to have a program, they can reach out to us. We can talk about where's the funding, how to start. But again, youngest is 4th to 5th graders, not gonna younger than 4th graders.
And you have a website.
Yes, UnitedWeGo.org.
UnitedWeGo.org. We'll be back. One final segment coming up with Gina right after these notes.
When it's time to transform your home's...
And in the studio with me is one of the early guests for Christiana.
Yes.
A while back.
Yes, first one.
Gina Aniana, and she has United We Go. You've mentioned the word unity a couple of times, and I know it's part of what you do.
Yeah.
So tell us about celebrating unity.
You see, when we talk about unity, actually we need to honor the diversity, because unity is not uniform.
It's a collection of diversity.
Exactly. So, and a lot of time, I think in community, society, sometimes we interpret in the different way. Is you need to have the same thoughts, same opinion, same perspective. No, that kills the unity. That's kills the diversity, which means kills the unity. So I deeply, from my childhood, as born in China as the second child, because one child policy, I was not even supposed to be born, to be honest. So being here is actually, I think I already won my journey. You know what I'm saying? Made it this far, did so many things. So I realized when I was born, everybody like one child policy, every family have one child, And when I was born, I really feel like I'm like an alien, because I was not wanted and needed, because you have second child. I have to go through the different trauma of being a second child, and realize how important actually every single life matters. And how can we honor each single life is not say you should be that person, you should be, or I should be. Don't shoot on yourself and don't shoot on other people. So I realized that through my own journey, I give myself permission to be different. When our community that time in China.
Give yourself permission to be who you are.
Yeah. So now I give myself permission. Now it's my turn also encourage, our community members. Now I make United States my home. Now in our local community, how can we work with this youth? They don't have to be born like second child like me in China to have the realization, but in United States or in our local community, how can we make each single youth feel special? They have their own stage, they have own light. Nobody gonna take your light away, but things need to come within.
So tell me about the Ever Living Friendship Wall.
Ever Living Friendship Wall is the initiative we started last year in Bay City. That's the concept is that a lot of murals, right? You put on and you're like, oh, somebody did a mural. Then this mural going to stay there for 15 years, 10 years. But we want to have this wall that once that wall is covered by current mural artists, the new artists come in, they will be able to paint over the current mural, but it will document it all on our website. So it's kind of ever living, never ending. Everybody have opportunity to leave the mark, but they have to submit application through us.
I was going to ask how they get involved.
Yes, exactly. So there's QR code on the wall as well, and also the QR code of the flyer on our website. So they will go through application because this wall is managed by City Public Safety of City of Bay City.
Where is the wall?
It's in Winona Park.
Winona Park.
Yes. So they need to go through us. We will kind of get also permission with the public safety of City of Bay City. So they also aware what's putting on the wall. And once they paint it, we will document, put the, why, who did what on our website. So they think about 10 years later, you will have no idea who's the one did the first mural or second. But they gone on our website, they realize that, beneath those paint are some other mural artists. So we kind of think it's interesting to keep that going in the community. Yeah.
And tell me about these shirts.
Those are for youth fashion show. So every year we have community to vote 5 I am for the youth. So last year we have I'm confident, I'm unique, I'm enough, I'm kind, and I'm loved. So this year community votes this new 5 I am. Let's see whether I can get it. Okay, I'm strong, I'm worthy. What that? On the shirt. I'm creative. I'm important. And
I'm youth.
Yes.
I'm important.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
creative.
Yep.
I am strong.
Resilient.
I'm resilient. Yes.
Yep.
That's it. There are 5.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
So those are the new merch, new shirts. So every year we release 5. So year 10, we will have 50 different I am. But the I am youth fashion show, the common mistake is people think it is called I am youth fashion show, but actually called I am youth fashion show. So we want the youth to claim what I am they want to be, because I cannot tell you, you are important. You need to claim that I am important to be believe. You believe, right? What you believe, what you manifest.
So
Yeah.
let us take out the Gina Aniana crystal ball. And where do you want to see United We Go 5 years from now?
5 years? Oh, can I say that? I think it's you give me permission, right, to say that. So in 5 years, we want me or my organization. United We Go.
Oh, let's do one at a time. Let's do the organization.
For United We Go, there's 2 things that are very clear standing in my mind. Is we want to be the nation #1 nonprofit being specialized into youth fashion show. Like that's something.
Mm-hmm.
And as for voice we use, I don't think anybody is doing that. But so in 5 years, we want to, at least in our Great Lakes Bay region or state-wise, to recognize this program to implant into.
So you would like to expand this into multiple schools?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the goal, because we just started a seed, we just started a movement, and this movement requires the community come support. Because if you don't think it's worth the try for our youth to drive them in this avenue, I can work with my own kids or a couple kids in our community. But if it's something that we recognize it's worth our effort, the community to invest in, it's not Gina's mission. It's not my mission. It's a community mission.
Yeah, but you did this to yourself. You separated Gina and the organization. So where does Gina want to be 5 years from now?
Gina is a very dynamic being, and
yes, she is.
United We Go is one of my baby that I would die for it, serious, just like my other 2 human babies. But as Gina, myself wise, I have a lot of things. Like, I'm a very curious person. I like to learn a lot of things. So United We Go as one of my mission. And actually, I'm also do healing work. Holistic healing is my sole mission. So without United We Go, with our podcast, I tell people you can strip away my title from United We Go, strip my title as podcaster, but you cannot strip away Gina from Gina, which is we are here for a reason, for a purpose, for an experience. And I don't want to limit Gina as the title of United We Go's founder president. I don't want the title be my girl's mom. I don't want to be titled somebody's girlfriend. Gina is Gina. And I don't know. Actually, I don't have answer. But I know one step at a time. I always take the next solid step to move forward.
I can give you an answer.
Yeah.
Gina wants to be Gina.
Yeah.
5 years from now, Gina wants to be the same Gina she is now.
You summarize good. Yes, I would take that. Gina want to be Gina, and whatever the definition of Gina, I don't know. Let her to define herself. I'm just I'm go with experience. I don't have United We Go. I do have vision. Podcast do have vision. Model have vision. But for myself, actually, I don't, and I'm okay with it.
Now, well, that's important to be okay with yourself. I mean, that's really important.
Yeah.
All right, I give everybody again the website.
UnitedWeGo.org.
And the casting date for the model show is 25th?
April 25th, Saturday at the Saginaw CMURC, second floor of SVRC Market. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Second floor?
Second floor, yeah.
This has been a pleasure. It's been interesting. I've learned something new and met somebody neat. This is what it's all about.
Thank you so much for having me.
Gina, you're welcome. Anytime. We'll do it again.
Yes. All right. Thank you, guys.
Gina Aniana and United We Go, UnitedWeGo.org. Look them up. Find out all the good things they do with youth, and we'll be back to close out.
It could be the best years of...
All right, that'll do it for this hour of the Art Lewis Show. We'll be back tomorrow with lots more. Coming up on Focus, we'll have open phones for you for about 20 minutes or so. That'll be after the news. CBS comes up to date with the world and the nation. Jonathan Dent's in the WSGW newsroom this morning. And then we will be back to tell you what's happening on Focus.
Broadcasting from the